Scripture portions of the day. Day 4.
Matthew 4. 1 Then Yeshua was led of the Spirit of holiness to the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. 2 But he fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterward he was hungry. 3 And the tempter approached him, and said to him, If you are the Son of Elohim, tell these stones to become bread. 4 But he answered and said, It is written, A man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of Elohim. 5 Then the devil brought him to the holy city, and stood him on the pinnacle of the temple. 6 And he said to him, If you are the Son of Elohim, cast yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and they will carry you upon their hands, lest you strike your foot on a stone. 7 Yeshua said to him, Again it is written, You shall not tempt the Lord Jehovah your Elohim. 8 Again the devil brought him to a very high mountain, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world, and their glory. 9 And he said to him, All these things I will give to you if you will fall down to worship me. 10 Then Yeshua said to him, Depart Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Lord Jehovah your Elohim, and him alone shall you serve. 11 And the devil left him, and behold angels approached, and they were serving him. 12 But when Yeshua heard that Yohanan had been delivered up, he departed to Galilee. 13 And he left Nazareth, and came to dwell in Capernaum, by the side of the sea, in the borders of Zebulun and of Naphtali. 14 That the thing which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet would be fulfilled, which says, 15 The land of Zebulun, the land of Naphtali, the way of the sea, the crossings of Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. 16 The people who sat in the darkness have seen the great light, and those who were sitting in the region, and in the shadow of death, to them the light has dawned. 17 From then on, Yeshua began to preach and to say, Return to Elohim, for the kingdom of heaven has come near. 18 And as he was walking on the side of the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Shimeon who was called Kepha, and Andre was his brother, for they were casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. 19 And Yeshua said to them, Come after me, and I shall make you to become fishers of men. 20 And at once they left their net, and they went after him. 21 And when he passed from there, he saw two other brothers, Jacob bar Zebedee, and Yohanan his brother, in a boat with Zebedee their father, who were setting their nets in order, and he called them. 22 And at once they left the boat and their father, and they went after him. 23 And Yeshua was traveling about in all Galilee, and he taught in their assemblies, and was preaching the gospel of the kingdom and curing every sickness and disease among the people. 24 And his fame was heard in all Syria, and they brought to him all those who had become ill with various diseases, those who were afflicted with severe pain, and the demon-possessed, and lunatics and paralytics, and he healed them. 25 And great crowds went after him from Galilee, and from the 10 cities, and from Jerusalem, and from Judea, and from the other side of the Jordan. Genesis 4. Chapter 4. 1 And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and brought forth Cain and said, I have gained a man through Elohim. 2 And she again bore his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. 3 And it was so after some time that Cain brought of the fruits of the earth a sacrifice to the Jehovah. 4 And Abel also brought of the firstborn of his sheep and of his fatlings, and Elohim looked upon Abel and his gifts. 5 But Cain and his sacrifices he regarded not, and Cain was exceedingly sorrowful, and his countenance fell. 6 And the Jehovah Elohim said to Cain, Why art thou become very sorrowful, and why is thy countenance fallen? 7 Hast thou not sinned if thou hast brought it rightly, but not rightly divided it? Be still, to thee shall be his submission, and thou shalt rule over him. 8 And Cain said to Abel his brother, Let us go out into the plain. And it came to pass that when they were in the plain Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. 9 And the Jehovah Elohim said to Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? 10 And the Jehovah said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cries to me out of the ground. 11 And now thou art cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. 12 When thou tillest the earth, then it shall not continue to give its strength to thee. Thou shalt be groaning and trembling on the earth. 13 And Cain said to the Jehovah Elohim, My crime is too great for me to be forgiven. 14 If thou castest me out this day from the face of the earth, and I shall be hidden from thy presence, and I shall be groaning and trembling upon the earth, then it will be that any one that finds me shall slay me. 15 And the Jehovah Elohim said to him, Not so, any one that slays Cain shall suffer sevenfold vengeance. And the Jehovah Elohim set a mark upon Cain that no one that found him might slay him. 16 So Cain went forth from the presence of Elohim and dwelt in the land of Nod over against Edom. 17 And Cain knew his wife, and having conceived she bore Enoch, and he built a city, and he named the city after the name of his son Enoch. 18 And to Enoch was born Gadad, and Gadad begot Malaleel, and Malaleel begot Methuselah, and Methuselah begot Lamech. 19 And Lamech took to himself 2 wives, the name of the one was Ada, and the name of the second Selah. 20 And Ada bore Jobal, he was the father of those that dwell in tents, feeding cattle. 21 And the name of his brother was Jubal, he it was who invented the psaltery and harp. 22 And Selah also bore Thobel, he was a smith, a manufacturer both of brass and iron, and the sister of Thobel was Nomah. 23 And Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Selah, Hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, consider my words, because I have slain a man to my sorrow and a youth to my grief. 24 Because vengeance has been exacted 7 times on Cain's behalf, on Lamech's it shall be 70 times 7. 25 And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore a son, and called his name Seth, saying, For Elohim has raised up to me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. 26 And Seth had a son, and he called his name Enos, he hoped to call on the name of the Jehovah Elohim. Joshua 6. 1 Now Jericho was closely shut up and besieged, and none went out of it, and none came in. 2 And the Jehovah said to Joshua, Behold, I deliver Jericho into thy power, and its king in it, and its mighty men. 3 And do thou set the men of war round about it. 4 And it shall be that when ye shall sound with the trumpet, all the people shall shout together. 5 And when they have shouted, the walls of the city shall fall of themselves, and all the people shall enter, each one rushing direct into the city. 6 And Joshua the son of Naui went into the priests, and spoke to them, saying, 7 And let 7 priests having 7 sacred trumpets proceed thus before the Jehovah, and let them sound loudly, and let the ark of the covenant of the Jehovah follow. 8 Charge the people to go round, and encompass the city, and let your men of war pass unarmed before the Jehovah. 9 And let the men of war proceed before, and the priests bringing up the rear behind the ark of the covenant of the Jehovah proceed sounding the trumpets. 10 And Joshua commanded the people, saying, Cry not out, nor let any one hear your voice, until he himself declare to you the time to cry out, and then ye shall cry out. 11 And the ark of the covenant of Elohim having gone round immediately returned into the camp, and lodged there. 12 And on the 2nd day Joshua rose up in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the covenant of the Jehovah. 13 And the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets went on before the Jehovah, and afterwards the men of war went on, and the remainder of the multitude went after the ark of the covenant of the Jehovah, and the priests sounded with the trumpets. 14 And all the rest of the multitude compassed the city 6 times from within a short distance, and went back again into the camp, this they did 6 days. 15 And on the 7th day they rose up early, and compassed the city on that day 7 times. 16 And it came to pass at the 7th circuit the priests blew the trumpets, and Joshua said to the children of Israel, Shout, for the Jehovah has given you the city. 17 And the city shall be devoted, it and all things that are in it, to the Jehovah of hosts, only do ye save Rahab the harlot, and all things in her house. 18 But keep yourselves strictly from the accursed thing, lest ye set your mind upon, and take of the accursed thing, and ye make the camp of the children of Israel an accursed thing, and destroy us. 19 And all the silver, or gold, or brass, or iron, shall be holy to the Jehovah, it shall be carried into the treasury of the Jehovah. 20 And the priests sounded with the trumpets, and when the people heard the trumpets, all the people shouted at once with a loud and strong shout, and all the wall fell round about, and all the people went up into the city. 21 And Joshua devoted it to destruction, and all things that were in the city, man and woman, young man and old, and calf and ass, with the edge of the sword. 22 And Joshua said to the 2 young men who had acted as spies, Go into the house of the woman, and bring her out thence, and all that she has. 23 And the 2 young men who had spied out the city entered into the house of the woman, and brought out Rahab the harlot, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and her kindred, and all that she had, and they set her without the camp of Israel. 24 And the city was burnt with fire with all things that were in it, only of the silver, and gold, and brass, and iron, they gave to be brought into the treasury of the Jehovah. 25 And Joshua saved alive Rahab the harlot, and all the house of her father, and caused her to dwell in Israel, until this day, because she hid the spies which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. 26 And Joshua adjured them on that day before the Jehovah, saying, Cursed be the man who shall build that city. He shall lay the foundation of it in his firstborn, and he shall set up the gates of it in his youngest son. And so did Hosan of Bethel. He laid the foundation in Abiram his firstborn, and set up the gates of it in his youngest surviving son. Joshua 7. 1 But the children of Israel committed a great trespass, and purloined part of the accursed thing, and Achar the son of Charmi, the son of Zambri, the son of Zara, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the Jehovah was very angry with the children of Israel. 2 And Joshua sent men to Gai, which is by Bethel, saying, Spy out Gai, and the men went up and spied Gai. 3 And they returned to Joshua, and said to him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and take the city by siege, carry not up thither the whole people, for the enemy are few. 4 And there went up about 3,000 men, and they fled from before the men of Gai. 5 And the men of Gai slew of them to the number of 36 men, and they pursued them from the gate, and destroyed them from the steep hill, and the heart of the people was alarmed and became as water. 6 And Joshua tore his garments, and Joshua fell on the earth on his face before the Jehovah, until evening, he and the elders of Israel, and they cast dust on their heads. 7 And Joshua said, I pray, Jehovah, wherefore has thy servant brought this people over Jordan to deliver them to the Amorite to destroy us? Would we had remained and settled ourselves beyond Jordan. 8 And what shall I say since Israel has turned his back before his enemy? 9 And when the Canaanite and all the inhabitants of the land hear it, they shall compass us round and destroy us from off the land, and what wilt thou do for thy great name? 10 And the Jehovah said to Joshua, Rise up, why hast thou fallen upon thy face? 11 The people has sinned and transgressed the covenant which I made with them, they have stolen from the cursed thing, and put it into their store. 12 And the children of Israel will not be able to stand before their enemies, they will turn their back before their enemies, for they have become an accursed thing. I will not any longer be with you, unless you remove the cursed thing from yourselves. 13 Rise, sanctify the people and tell them to sanctify themselves for the morrow. Thus says the Jehovah Elohim of Israel, the accursed thing is among you. Ye shall not be able to stand before your enemies, until ye shall have removed the cursed thing from among you. 14 And ye shall all be gathered together by your tribes in the morning, and it shall come to pass that the tribe which the Jehovah shall shew, ye shall bring by families, and the family which the Jehovah shall shew, ye shall bring by households, and the household which the Jehovah shall shew, ye shall bring man by man. 15 And the man who shall be pointed out, shall be burnt with fire, and all that he has, because he has transgressed the covenant of the Jehovah, and has wrought wickedness in Israel. 16 And Joshua rose up early, and brought the people by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was pointed out. 17 And it was brought by their families, and family of the Zerites was pointed out. 18 And it was brought man by man, and Achar the son of Zambri the son of Zara was pointed out. 19 And Joshua said to Achar, Give glory this day to the Jehovah Elohim of Israel, and make confession, and tell me what thou hast done, and hide it not from me. 20 And Achar answered Joshua, and said, Indeed I have sinned against the Jehovah Elohim of Israel, thus and thus have I done. 21 I saw in the spoil an embroidered mantle, and 200 didrams of silver, and 1 golden wedge of 50 didrams, and I desired them, and took them, and, behold, they are hid in my tent, and the silver is hid under them. 22 And Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent into the camp, and these things were hidden in his tent, and the silver under them. 23 And they brought them out of the tent, and brought them to Joshua, and the elders of Israel, and they laid them before the Jehovah. 24 And Joshua took Achar the son of Zara, and brought him to the valley of Achor, and his sons, and his daughters, and his calves, and his asses, and all his sheep, and his tent, and all his property, and all the people were with him, and he brought them to Emek Achor. 25 And Joshua said to Achor, Why hast thou destroyed us? The Jehovah destroy thee as at this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones. 26 And they set up over him a great heap of stones, and the Jehovah ceased from his fierce anger. Therefore he called the place Emek Achor until this day. Psalms 4. 1 When I called upon him, the Elohim of my righteousness heard me. Thou hast made room for me in tribulation, pity me, and hearken to my prayer. 2 O ye sons on men, how long will ye be slow of heart? Wherefore do ye love vanity, and seek falsehood? Pause. 3 But know ye that the Lord has done wondrous things for his Holy One. The Lord will hear me when I cry to him. For be ye angry, and sin not. Feel compunction upon your beds for what ye say in your hearts. Pause. 5 Offer the sacrifice of righteousness, and trust in the Lord. 6 Many say, Who will shew us good things? The light of thy countenance, O Lord, has been manifested towards us. 7 Thou hast put gladness into my heart. They have been satisfied with the fruit of their corn and wine and oil. 8 I will both lie down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only hast caused me to dwell securely.